You've walked through an airport 100 times. You've stood in the line, you've taken off your shoes, you've been told to arrive 2 hours early just in case. What you didn't know is that the moment you booked that ticket, the airport already decided how it was going to treat you. Not based on where you're going, based on what you're worth. Today, we're going to walk through every level of wealth, from the person flying standby with a maxed out card to the person who has never once seen the inside of a terminal, and show you exactly how the system changes around you at every single step. Stick around because Tier 6 is the one most people never even know exists.
Tier 1, 0 to 30K, the standby life.
You booked this flight 3 weeks ago because it was $40 cheaper on a Tuesday. You get to the airport 2.5 hours early, not because you want to, because you've heard the horror stories. The line that doesn't move, the gate that closes 12 minutes early, the agent who looks at you like you're the reason their shift is running long. Security doesn't know you. You're a shape moving through a scanner. Belt off, shoes off, laptop out, the tray stacks getting shoved forward by the person behind you who is somehow more impatient than you are. At the gate, you're Group 7. You already know this. You've made peace with it. You watch zones 1 through 6 disappear down the jet bridge while you stand there holding a backpack you're quietly measuring against the sizer, hoping nobody stops you. The overhead bin is gone by the time you sit down. Middle seat, row 34. The person next to you has their elbow on your armrest before you've even sat down. And you don't say anything because saying something feels like more effort than it's worth. This is not a bad life. This is most people's life. But the airport has made one thing very clear to you without saying a single word. You are inventory. You are being moved, not served.
Tier 2, 30K to 75K, the loyalty grind.
Now you've got a credit card with the airline logo on it. You know your frequent flyer number by heart. You've read 3 blog posts about elite status, and you are chasing it like it's a religion. You get Group 3 now, sometimes Group 2 if you're lucky and the flight isn't full of people who pay for priority. The gate agent still doesn't know your name, but the app does. It buzzes you a notification. You're 4,000 miles from silver status. You feel something close to pride reading that sentence, and you don't examine that feeling too closely. You've started paying the $99 for the lounge day pass on long layovers, and it feels like crossing into another world. Free pretzels, a bartender who doesn't card you twice, an outlet that actually works. You sit there for 90 minutes nursing a drink you didn't need because the lounge itself is the point, not the drink. You board before boarding Group 7 chaos begins. You get an overhead bin. Small victories, but they feel enormous because you remember what it was like before you had them. Here's the part nobody tells you. This tier works harder for its status than any other tier in this video. The people above you were born into ease. You are earning yours one segment at a time, and the airport rewards that loyalty with just enough perks to keep you climbing.
Tier 3, 75K to 150K, comfort without thinking.
Something shifts here. You stop calculating. You book the flight that works with your schedule, not the one that's $60 cheaper with a 5 a.m. layover in a city you've never heard of. You pay for the extra legroom seat without opening a spreadsheet in your head first. TSA PreCheck isn't a luxury anymore. It's just how you fly. Shoes stay on, laptop stays in the bag. You walk through the shorter line while glancing, almost without meaning to, at the regular line snaking around the corner, and you feel a small private relief that you're not in it. You've started noticing the priority pass lounges scattered across terminals, and you use them not because you're chasing status, but because $32 for a mediocre lounge meal beats $19 for airport Chili's when you value your time enough to not think twice about it. The gate agent still doesn't know your name, but you don't need her to. You've built a life where the airport's chaos exists on the other side of a velvet rope, and you walk past it, mildly amused that you used to be in it. This is the tier where money stops being about survival and starts being about time. You're not richer than everyone around you, you've just stopped letting small costs cost you your patience.
Tier 4, 150K to 400K, business class thinking.
Now the airport starts to know your name, not because it cares about you, but because your card does. You fly business class on the long hauls, not every time, but enough that when you don't, it feels wrong, like wearing shoes that don't quite fit. You board in Group 1, a flight attendant hangs up your jacket. You get a menu, an actual menu, and choosing between the chicken or the pasta feels like a decision that matters. The lounge you're sitting in now isn't the crowded priority pass room with the sad fruit plate. It's the airline's own business lounge, hot food stations, a shower suite you didn't know you needed until you used it once and now can't fly without. You've started noticing something interesting. The higher you climb, the less you have to ask for anything. A gate agent reroutes you around the canceled flight before you've even opened the app to check. A lounge attendant remembers you take your coffee black. You still go through security like everyone else, technically, but your line moves differently. Nobody's rushing you, nobody's stacking trays behind your back. For the first time, the airport isn't something that happens to you. It's something you're moving through calmly, like you belong there. Because at this level, you do.
Tier 5, 400K to 2 million, the invisible door.
Here's where most people watching this video have never been, and where the airport itself starts to disappear. You don't queue for security. There's a door, sometimes marked, sometimes not, that leads to a private screening room. No shoes off, no laptop out, no stranger's bag pressing into your side. Just you, a screener who greets you by your first name, and a process that takes 90 seconds. You're not flying commercial first class anymore, not always. You're chartering, fractional ownership, a membership that gives you a jet on 4 hours notice. The gate is a private terminal, sometimes miles from the one everyone else uses, with a lounge that has your favorite scotch already poured before you arrive because someone called ahead. There is no boarding. There is no boarding, really. You walk from a car to a plane in the time it takes most people to find their gate on the departures board. And here's the part that will genuinely surprise you. At this level, you almost never see another passenger you don't already know. The airport, for you, has quietly become private. Not because you demanded it, because money built a second airport, invisible, layered right on top of the one everyone else is standing in. You used to think airports were a shared experience. At this tier, you learn they were never actually shared at all. They just felt that way to the people underneath you.
Tier 6, 10 million plus, the tier that doesn't use airports.
This is the tier I told you about at the start. Most people don't even know it exists because by the time you're here, you've stopped using commercial airports almost entirely. You fly out of fixed base operators, private terminals attached to the side of major airports that most travelers don't even know are there. No TSA line, no badge check beyond a driver's license and a nod. Your car pulls up to the plane, your bags are already loaded. Your pilot already has your flight plan filed. There is no on time. There is only whenever you're ready. If you're running 40 minutes late, the plane waits. Nobody radios ahead in a panic. Nobody reschedules you. The entire machinery of the flight bends around your schedule instead of the other way around. You don't think about layovers because you don't have them. You don't think about lost luggage because you never check a bag through a system built to lose it. You don't think about weather delays the way everyone else does because your pilot can choose a different airport entirely if the first one looks inconvenient. The strange thing about this tier is that it isn't luxurious in the way people imagine. It's not gold seatbelts or champagne towers. It's silence. It's the complete absence of the friction everyone else in this video has been navigating their entire life. And here's the part that should sit with you. Everyone below this tier is in some sense still fighting the same system. A slower line, a smaller seat, a longer wait. At this level, you're not winning that system anymore. You're not in it at all. Let's put it side by side. At $30,000, you are a body in a line, hoping the overhead bin has room. At $150,000, you're a name on a manifest, treated with quiet courtesy because your spending pattern says you're worth keeping happy. At $2 million, you are a scheduled appointment, and the building itself seems to rearrange around your arrival. At $10 million and above, you are not a passenger. You are the reason the plane exists to begin with. The wild part isn't that the experience changes. Everyone assumes that. The wild part is how early it starts changing. By the time you cross $150,000, you're already living in a version of air travel that someone at $30,000 would barely recognize. You don't need to be a billionaire to escape the worst of it. You just need to cross a threshold most people don't realize is there. And the tiers above you, they're not being greedy or excessive. They've simply removed every point of friction money is capable of removing. The line, the wait, the uncertainty, all of it is optional. It was only ever mandatory for the people who couldn't opt out. Here's what I want you to sit with. Every single tier in this video walked through the same building, same runways, same sky, but 6 completely different experiences stacked invisibly on top of each other, sorted by a number most of us never say out loud. The next time you're standing in a security line watching someone walk past you through an unmarked door, that's not luck. That's not really about the plane. It's about every decision, every dollar, every year that built the gap between where you're standing and where that door leads. So the real question isn't which tier you're in today, it's which door you're building your way toward. If this broke down something you'd never thought about before, you know what to do. Subscribe, because next week, we're walking through every level of wealth, again in a place you spend even more time in than an airport. See you in the next one.